Hi everyone, it's Jean from Jean's Gems. I just wanted to show you a quick video today of what I've been working on. I had mentioned these needle books as part of my ephemera video that I did about, I don't know, last week sometime, but I found another one and I thought about making something similar to this and showing you what resulted from that. So I took the design of the needle book and I've made a couple to show you. Now, I basically used different vintage things that I had in my stash. I used buttons, I used lace. This is some seam binding. This is an old piece of jewelry, it looks like. And of course I wanted to put a little bit of words on this one. So this is the one I just recently completed today. And I love it because it has all kinds of little options on the inside. Now this one has more of a sewing theme to it because I added some lace that can be removed under this little flap where I sewed a button on. There is some rickrack that you can take out if you want to. This one has some vintage mother of pearl or abalone. I'm pretty sure they're mother of pearl. They're a little bit thick to be abalone. And then just a little piece of rickrack. And here we have this cute little bag that holds some different colors of green and orange beads. That's a little applique that I put on it. I used this, it's not really embroidered, but it's an interesting design that I found from trim in some of my vintage things. So what I did is I made some washi tape out of this so that if I did use it in a project, that I would be able to just easily adhere it without using glue, which sometimes kind of gets messy and ugly. So that was that was just some trim that I backed with double-sided tape. So that's what you see here, and that's what you see here on this little cellophane bag that I made. And on this, I found this cute little tag. I don't know where it came from specifically, but it was tied on a buckle when I found it. So it may be from a fabric store or something of that nature. This is just a green brad. When you open this up, I placed a piece of wool felt, and this is also wool felt, this little flower, and then I added some decorative pins. Now, the reason why I used wool felt is because years and years ago, when you made a pin cushion, a lot of times they were filled with steel wool. And that was a way to keep your needles sharp, as well as they didn't rust. So when you put your needles in wool felt, it's the same effect. They won't rust and they'll stay sharp. So I left this piece blank here, and you know, you can make these any way that you like. But if you wanted to add something else here, you could. I just thought it would close better by not adding too much bulk there. So that's where I put the pins. This is just a piece of a button card that I found in my stash that was just torn. and this little sticker, and just using contrasting colors. So this is all the same paper pack. I do not remember what it was called. I've had it for a long time, but I would use some of, and I used this red kind of as an accent. It's not really a red, it's kind of like a fuchsia. So, and then you just close it, and here it has a double button and some more of that trim. On this side, I added some trim and the red, and I thought this was appropriate because out of limitations comes creativity. So sometimes we might not have all these fancy materials, stickers and things to add to our projects, but if you look in your buttons or your vintage things, broken jewelry, you can find all kinds of cute ways to make one of these little books. So that's the first one I made. Or today I made this one actually. The next one I made was the very first one, and I did grunge this one up a little bit. I love this color here, and so I matched it with a green, Collect Beautiful Moments, and added a little butterfly to it. Now this is a stretchy piece of velvet ribbon that I use to add this, but I wanted to tell you a couple things. Here's another wool felt piece that has some sewing needles in it, and this design I kind of tried to mimic the way the shapes go here and here, and get as many as I could get on there, but I just decided to go with what I could. So I put these two on in an angle, and then this one straight, and then this one straight. So what you can see here is this is a little cellophane bag that I made, and it has 2 vintage buttons in it. This is a little piece that I created, and it's a piece of cardstock that I wrapped around some fabric ribbon washi tape that I made. Now the unique thing about this particular washi tape is that the fabric is actually vintage feed sack. So if you're familiar with that, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Inside this little envelope, I added a daisy, some old trim, and some pieces of lace, and then I added this little lace piece down here. In this one, you have all kinds of, you can take these up, but you have to be very careful because I use this double-sided tape. This has some whimsical buttons and some wool felt pieces, and then this one over here just has some blue beads. So there was the original design that I made, and this one has a button closing it on this side, and then a button and butterfly here. So that was the second one I wanted to show you. The next one I'm going to show you is more for to use as a photo book. So this one, again, the same pad of paper, and I just layered different colors. Always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder. And I think that's a really cute sentiment for a photo book. I used one of these flowers that I have, and this is vintage tatting, and I thought I'd use that as a tie. And when you open this up, you can see I used a few different shapes. So I used oval shapes for these. And I also use some circles. In this one, you can just pop it open. The little flap here holds the circle down. You can pop it open, and it has 2 places for photos. So you can add those there. And then this one, and then these. And then I just added with a paper clip an old photo of a little girl that I have. And I thought that was really cute. So I just kind of added different matted pieces that you can use to add photos. And this would be a really cute gift for someone. The back, I just covered the tatting like this, and then of course it will tie. This one I had a lot of fun with. This is tied with some jute. Creativity takes courage. This one's a little bit grungy too around the edge because I used some I believe tea dye stain, Tim Holtz. And this one also has some cute little things on it that remind you of sewing. So I have this eye. I don't have the hook, just the eye. And then I use some rickrack. This one I did a little bit different. I tried some collaging on this where I added some book paper and some washi tape, and then I added, of course, all the different pieces of rickrack. But you have cards in here. This is a little pocket I made. These are tags, not cards, Jean. And over here I made a band, and then you can see more of the vintage look here. And then I added in some of these tags. I probably will put some kind of either rickrack or lace or ribbon in the holes, but I just haven't found the right color yet. So there you go. There is another one that is very good for a memory keeper. This also, let me see. This also is like a little band. So if you wanted to stick something in there, you could do that as well. And I had this broken paper clip in my stash, and I thought it matched quite well with the design of the paper. So I just created a closure with it, and then, I'm sorry guys if I'm out of frame, and then I just closed it. Like, you can just draw it through here. Now if you want to, you can make this a tassel of some sort, you know, however you want to do that. So those are the 4 that I made, and they were so much fun, and I love every one of them. So as you can see, you can make them like the original style, something that would have to do with needles, or you can make a photo book, you can make little surprise pockets, and give some beads or stickers or something of that nature. So what I have is, I'm going to show you as best I can how I make the little pockets. Now, on the pockets that I made, I used strips of paper and double-sided tape, but you can use washi if you like. The only thing with washi is you have to get it exactly at, You have to have, I mean, for me, because I'm picky, it has to be that I can't see the washi on the other side. So let's try this here. I'm going to make it a little wider on the front. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fold this over. And that will seal your bag, okay? Just like this. Now, this part needs to come off in this part. So let me see where I laid my scissors here. Just cut this off like this. And then, let me see if I can rip that. If you're doing something that's more vintagey, you don't have to, I mean, ripped edges look nice. So there you have one side, and then we'll do the other side. And again, we want to make it a little bit wider on the front than we do on the back. Otherwise, what you'll see is the fold coming through the tape. Now this one let's see, let me tear this here and here. Washi tape can be, you can fold it under too, but I just like to keep it nice and clean and trimmed at the edges. Here we go. And we'll trim this one. Now this one's not very straight, but you get the idea of how you would make your little bags for your treasures that you want to put inside your needle book or your memory book. So washi tape is definitely an option. If you want to use paper, you can do that as well with double-sided tape, and that works great too. And then you can make yourself a little flap out of either the washi tape or perhaps a piece of the paper that might go along with the design of your book. This one's a little bit big, but this gives you an idea of how you can make yourself a tab. And if you think that that is a little bit big, what you could do is put a button here. I would sew it on before I attach it. That way you don't have to sew through the bag. And that gives you a good, a neat little closure for your treasure bags inside of your memory book or your needle book. So there's the idea for that. And I'll tell you, the paper that I use for this, or the plastic, is actually a bag that has you just pull this off and it's self-adhesive. So what I try to do is trim this so I have one side that's already sealed. I still tape both sides, but it's a little bit easier for you if you use the corner pieces, because then you're looking at it being a little bit secure, more secure, because you have the bottom that's closed and the side that's closed. And I just cut these with my paper cutter so that I can get everything nice and straight. So that's what I use for the little bags, and they can be tedious, but they're fun. So here is one that I have already traced onto my paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. I was trying to think where I got my wool felt, and I think the company that I got it from was called Prairie Point Junction. Now, I know a lot of the companies that we used to buy from may not be in business due to the pandemic, so I didn't actually look them up, but I'm pretty sure that's where I got my wool felt. And if they have sample packets, so you could pick a sample packet of some colors that you like. Now, because I traced this in pen, you'll have to go around it carefully and make sure. Now, I'm leaving this here because I want the point instead of just a rounded edge. So here you go. Here is our needle book, and I chose double-sided paper so that we could use the inside, and we can use some contrasting papers for the inside of it. Now, on some of them, I did reinforce the fold. So if you want to do that, you can use a piece here and reinforce the fold. Okay. You can take the paper, for example, let's see, this is the front paper, okay? So when I would lay out a design, I would either use the opposite color. So for example, let's see if I have a smaller piece. Let's just take this piece and we will cut it carefully. Okay. So instead of making your mats this color, we can make them this color. And then on top of that, we can actually mat that contrasting color. Now, because this one is a little bit different because it doesn't have the dots, but it has the green. But I want you to get the idea that if you're going to use this for a photo book, or if you're going to use it for a treasure, you know, to put treasures in, or to give as a gift, you want to make your squares and whatever you're using large enough. Now, I have this large flap, but it's not going to fit. It will fit, but we would have to trim off the end. The reason I thought about that is because, let me see what other larger pieces I have. So with the little bags, I would put them on a contrasting color like this. Okay. Now this bag is a little bit big, and it's also not even. You know, when you're working with this type of material, you do need to take your time, especially if you're using washi, because washi, it's very hard to get it even. So you may be able to do that if you have better eyesight than I do. My eyesight is not great. But you also have the option of just taking this particular piece. Okay, let me see if I have another piece of plastic. Okay, so here I have one. And let's say I wanted to make this be the background. Okay, the first thing I need to do is fold under or cut off this so that I can allow myself a flap. Okay, so it has to be so that the top part can fold down over. You could actually take your washi tape and just tape the sides of the bag down right to the mat. Okay, let me just show you what I mean. Let me see if I have a color that matches. I just like this yellow. I don't know if it really matches or not, but I like this yellow. And I'm going to cut this so that it has even edges. So I am going to place this onto the bag, and I'm going to seal it right onto the mat. Okay, now let me just try this a second. This is one thing I love about washi tape, is it's so forgiving. You can lift it up and move it if you need to. So I'm trying to get a very straight edge. There we go. Now, what I would do with this is just turn it underneath like this. You can see I got a little bit over the edge, so just turn it underneath and then do the same thing with the other side. Now, the reason why this part is okay is because you're going to put a piece of washi. Let me see if I can get this green going here. Right down on top of this one. Okay, and you don't actually have to seal the bottom of this one because it's already been sealed, but if you want to reinforce it, this is a great way to do that. Just fold this over and then fold this side over. So there you have. And if you want to use some more of the yellow to get just cut the top off. Some more of the yellow to cover this side. You can, like this. I would just make sure it's nice and smooth. Now with this, I did get a little bit over the edge, but it still, I think, looks good. I'm going to trim this one though, because it is over the edge. And then I'm just going to take this and turn it back on itself there. So as you can see, you can make all kinds of things with the washi tape and then the little envelopes, and you can put it here. Now let's say you have a certain theme, like on some of them I used a red or a pink or a green background so that I could get something that looks plain. You know, you can certainly do that too. Now these I use double-sided tape for this project, but I do have some glue that will work as well. I use a tacky glue that's good glue for this project as well. So as you can see, here we have a mat, and I found some of these things in my junk. And this one has a little heart on it. And you just peel off the backing. And then you fold it in half. And then I would put it right here, like this, and then fold it down, okay? This makes a really cute option for the tab. I'm gonna try to get that a little bit straighter. The tab on here. We'll just press it down. Now you will have to put a little bit of double-sided tape or something under here. I was going to originally use like tiny pieces of Velcro, but I don't have any in my stash right now, so I just use tiny pieces of double-sided tape, because the double-sided tape will lift off of the plastic if you do it carefully. I'm just going to trim that. So here we have this cute little pocket for our memory book. If you want to, you can add other things to it. If you want a little bit of pretty trim, or you want a word that goes down at the bottom, you can use word stickers. You can use some of the fabric washi tape. I have all these colors here made out of the feed sacks, and then I made this one out of muslin and ribbon. Here's some purple feed sack. This was some Asian inspired fabric that I got from Temu. It's cotton, so it's really nice for adding to these as well. And then here are some paper ones that I made. So these are little pieces of paper, and they remind me of quilting. So I used all different sizes and adhered them, and then I used a little bit of gel medium over the top because I wanted to make sure that they were smooth, and I like the texture that that gives them as well. So I made a couple of those out of some stickers and some things that I had from my Temu stash. So there is some washi tape, and I also, now this looks a little bit wonky because the tape was a little, just a tiny bit bigger than the trim, but I went ahead and added it anyway. And let me just fix this little piece here. There you go. There's some nice trim that you can use on your memory books or your journals. That's another one. And then I have several rolls of this, but this is strawberry shortcake ribbon, and I made a whole bunch of it and added it to here so that if I do something where I want pink, you know, I can use that as well. You could use these to line your little packets as well. I'm going to check to see if I can find some really small ring envelopes or jewelry envelopes, and that way I won't have to make my own. But I think for this project, it's kind of fun to make your own. Then you know it's something that you came up with out of your own stash as far as what your limitations are. So there are some ideas for you on how you can make your own fabric washi tape as well as your own little pockets. I love buttons and anything that has to do with sewing. I'm sure I got that from my mom, but I basically have just this little box that I keep all my bits and bobbles in, and I have a couple brads, a couple of things with beads, a couple danglies, and so I can, work out how I want to use certain things in my projects. I like these. These I got a long time ago, I think at AC Moore when they were popular, and everyone was making pin cushions and wanted fancy pins. So that's what I used in the journal with all the wool felt. This is another thing that I think would look really cute. In one of the books, I used a piece with just buttons, but even just cutting this part off, it would make a good, an interesting piece for like a tag, the top of the tag, or just to use on one of the matted pieces. So there are a couple options for you. Also, if you have any cute trims, I found a couple pieces. This one is really cute, this particular trim. Let me see how it goes. So this would look really nice going up the side here if you wanted to just add this. And I think that's really pretty. You could put, the leaf here is hollow, so you could probably stick on there 3 or 4 little safety pins, and that's where people could get their safety pins and have a cute little sewing theme with that. I also found this interesting beaded closure. So what I would probably do with this is put it here like this and cover up that point and put some type of ribbon or lace in order to cover underneath it, and then I would be able to use this as my closure. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. It's really pretty, and I think it kind of goes with the design. You can also, here's an interesting brad I found that is, that would make a pretty closure as well. And then I found this. It's some seam binding and some ribbon, and looks like some other type of applique, and I am not sure how it was applied, but doing a black and white one would be really cool. And what I would do in that case is I would lay out the applique. I think it goes the other way. I would lay out the applique like this. Okay. And then I would probably glue this down because it's not going to stick with double-sided tape. And then you have like this little eyelash trim, and then I would simply put this on top. Okay, and that would make a real pretty closure too. Now these pieces probably came off of some other projects or things that I've just gathered from other taking them off other things. So I think this is probably where this came from, because I don't remember making it, but it's really cute. And if you would use it on a black and white journal, I think that would be a really pretty closure. So go through your bits and baubles and things that you have at home, and see what you can use to make yourself either a little sewing book, a little memory book, a photo holder, whatever you want to make. I found one other design. Let me see if I brought it. I'm not sure if I did. Let me see. If you can find any fancy designed like covers or tags or anything like that that you might have in your stash that you could use to make a memory book, you could go with different designs as well. So I found this one right here, and what I would do is take my paper on a fold and then trim this around this way. And then that would give you another option for a really cute memory book or photo book or sewing. This is even a really pretty image that would look nice on the front if you would do that. So there are some ideas for you of what you can do to make different shapes. You can make the folios or the booklets for different purposes. And I think they're really fun because I can't wait to do this one. But over the last couple days, that's been my art therapy, is working on my little books. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I know I certainly did, because I was able to use some of the things that I love, like buttons and tags and the pins and the appliques. So all kinds of cute little things and ways that you can make your own booklet. So I hope that I explained this in the basic terms that you can understand. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And as far as I know, this is my original design, so if I'm stepping on anybody's toes, please forgive me. But I hope you enjoyed our little chat today and what I was working on, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a great day and stay safe.